Wel, prynhawn da pawb and croeso y coginio ar y hyd. Hello everyone and welcome to the Cook-Along. My name is Richard and heddiw today we're going to be concentrating on making a wonderful Mc-Cookalong Happy Meal, and we're going to be doing a fish finger style Happy Meal this afternoon with all the accompaniments. So you've got your French fries, your tomato sauce, you've got a milkshake to go on the side, and I've even got a little Mc-Cookalong Happy Meal toy that I'm going to show you afterwards, or what I class as a toy in my life. So as with all of the Cook-Alongs, now that I've got all of the computer bits all sorted, I just need to go and wash my hands. So this is your, looking on my imaginary clock, this is your 21 second and 15 millisecond warning. Go and grab yourself a little drink, a sheet and a pen, a sheet of paper rather, and a pen if you want to write any notes, and I will be back in the room in 20 seconds and 53 milliseconds. So bear with me, just quickly going to wash my hands and I will be back. Well, prynhawn da pawb, if you've just joined us, just quickly washing my hands and I will be back in the room. Just drying them off on a sheet of paper, and that goes into my bin. I can pop a little bit of antibac onto my hands just there. Rub all that in and I will be back in the room. So I'm back in the room. My hands are now nicely sanitized, and I'm ready to start this afternoon's session. So as always with the Cook-Alongs, I am going to start off with my official part, and then it will very quickly, and I can feel it today, it's going to very quickly go downhill from there. So I'm going to start off with the official part, which is prynhawn da pawb and croeso y coginio ar y hyd. Good afternoon everybody once again, and welcome to the Happy Cymru Cook-Along. My name is Richard, and heddiw, to celebrate World Health Day, which is actually today, we're going to be making a healthier takeaway recipe, and we're going to be doing this wonderful Mc-Cookalong Happy Meal, and we're going to focus on some fish fingers this afternoon. We're making absolutely everything from scratch apart from the tomato sauce. So I'm hoping that if I just click that button just there, I'm hoping on the side you've now got a picture of the wonderful little Happy Meal that we're making. You can see the fish fingers, you can see the French fries, and you can see the accompaniments. Don't worry about the little plant that's on the tray as well. I'll tell you all about that afterwards. So let me just get rid of that. And what we're going to do today is, I've already made some earlier. I've got it already kept cooking off in my oven just there, just to save a little bit of time. But we're going to start off and I'll show you all the processes, right? Now, when you're making this recipe and this little Happy Meal, to serve 4 people shouldn't take you longer than about half hour to 45 minutes to cook everything off, right? So it's just as quick, perhaps even quicker, than getting in your car, driving to the local McDonald's takeaway or wherever you go for your takeaways, having to stay in that drive-through queue, which if you're anything like me over in Llantrisant is always about 50 cars long, right? And then you have to wait, and then you have to wait for them to cook it, then you order a special order and you have to wait another 20 minutes for it to arrive. So it's going to be really, really, really quick, and you don't have to leave the house if you've got all the ingredients. So I'm going to stop waffling, and we're going to start off on these little potato French fries, right? And I'm hoping that if I just click that button just there, yeah, it has, you can see that the recipe card for our French fries has just come up. And basically there are, I'm just going to scroll down here because I can't quite see it on my screen over there, I've got a bigger screen just here. Or basically all you need is 4 ingredients. You need 4 potatoes, 1 per person, and we're talking medium sized potatoes. You need a little bit of vegetable oil, some mixed herbs and some black pepper if you want to add it, and then it's good to go, right? So I've just got a normal bog standard white potato just there. And all I'm going to do is I've already washed it, and I'm just going to cut it with the skin on. And because we're keeping the skin on, what that means is that we're starting to add a little bit of extra sort of fibre. And you can see I'm doing my fingers a claw, and I've just cut it sort of into little chunks just like that, because what that then allows me to do is just cut it down this way into 4 little pieces, and you get your sort of French fry sort of little potato little wedges just like that. And as I said, we're going to bake these in the oven this afternoon. So fingers a claw, just cutting down until you get your little French fries just like that. These that haven't been pre-cooked whatsoever, they're going to cook quite happily in the oven afterwards. So literally with the skin on, they've got extra fibre, and I really like them with the skin on because it gives a little bit of extra texture as well. Then to that, per person, you need 1 teaspoon, or as it says on the recipe card, 1 tablespoon if you're doing this enough for 4 people. So just a little bit on just like that. If you're a spray oil kind of person, it's about 7 sprays per person. A little bit of our trusty mixed herbs. We're not going to add any extra salt to this recipe, so we want to try and infuse it with as many other flavours as possible. Then I like to do it in a little jug, just like that. You could do it in a mixing bowl. You can just mix that up, and that's now ready to go in the oven. So literally, I've just got a little pizza tray just like that, and that means that the base of your little French fries will cook off quite nicely. I'm going to pop them onto the baking tray, and if possible, if you can put the skin side down, they just cook a little easier, right? So skin side down if possible. It's a non-stick little pizza tray anyway, and so nothing should stick, but if it does, it's better to have put the skin side down, and then they will bake off in the oven at 190 degrees centigrade for between 25 and 30 minutes, right? And by the time they're half cooked, your fish fingers will be ready to also go in as well. So as I said, I'm not going to cook these straight away. I'm going to cook these later. So I'm just going to leave those on top of my oven for now, because I have got some in there that I made earlier. And I promise you, when they come out, natural fact, I can show you what they look like when they come out. I'll pop my fish fingers just in there. You can see after 25 to 30 minutes, they're lovely and crispy. They're still nice and golden brown, and I promise you, they are absolutely blassis yam, right? So I'm just going to pop those just back in there for now, and as I said, I'm going to cook the other ones afterwards. So whilst those are cooking, the next thing that we need to prepare are our fish fingers. And this is probably the best bit of this afternoon session. So let me just grab my other tray just here, and you can see, and if I just click just there, that should have disappeared, and then I can click again, and my fish finger recipe card has just come up on the side over there. And if I fiddle with this, you can see that we've now got our fish finger sort of recipe card on the screen, and I got it in front of me on the side over there. So let's crack on with this recipe. And what we've got is I've got 2 frozen fish fillets, right? I'm doing enough for 2 people this afternoon in terms of my fish fingers, so I've just got 1 small fillet just like that. And the great thing about using frozen fish, it stays in your freezer until you need it. You can pull it out, allow it to defrost. I defrosted this overnight, and now it's ready to actually use. The great thing also about using frozen white fish in particular, right, is that it's already been skinned for us, right? So as you can see, it's just literally already been skinned, so all I have to do is cut it into little pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop that onto my little fish board just here, because it's the blue side just over there, and all that we're looking for is I'm going to cut my little pieces of fish just into little fingers, right? So you can see I've got a nice square piece of fish just here. If it was the tail, then you'd have slightly thinner pieces, but you've got those pieces down just like that, just about 1 centimetre squared, and that means that they'll cook in about 10 to 15 minutes, right? So I'm going to pop those back onto there because I'm only going to show you how to make a couple, and then with that I can just pop that just under there, just as so. I'm going to give my hands just a little wash, and then I can show you the next bit. So for the next bit, so I've got my fish just there, and to make these little fish fingers, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to coat them in a little bit of flour, okay, and I'm going to add a little bit of mixed herbs to that flour just to add a little bit of extra flavour. So in go my mixed herbs. Then it's a bit like gluing and sticking, right? You're then going to add the glue, which is going to be your egg, and then you add your glitter, right, which is going to be our little breadcrumbs, and I'll talk about the breadcrumbs in a couple of moments. So I'm just going to grab myself just a little spoon just to mix those up, just as so. And then the next thing that I need is I need a fork just there, and I've got my little egg. Now, as I've always shown you with our eggs, we're going to crack it, couldn't get my words out then, into a little separate bowl. So I've got my separate bowl, use the handle of my fork just there, I can get my fingers in, and by doing it like that, rather than cracking on the side, you're less likely to get sort of shell into whatever you are making. So I'm just going to grab myself a little bit of antibacterial gel, and this is a bit of a messy sort of job, but I'm going to try and show you how to minimise the sort of mess this afternoon, right? So I've just whisked that up just as so. I can leave my fork in there, and then the last thing that I need to prepare is I have got my breadcrumbs. Now, to minimise the amount of mess this afternoon, I'm going to pop my breadcrumbs into a little bag, and then we shake them in the bag. And I just got some wholemeal breadcrumbs just there. You can either use one of those little part baked rolls which you can grate down. You could use some frozen bread which you or bread rolls that you freeze and then you grate down, or you can put it into the blitzer. I actually put it into the blitzer just to save a bit of time. So I've got my wholemeal breadcrumbs just there, I've got my glue, and I've got my pre-glue as well, right? So the first thing is I'm just going to this afternoon just do 3 little fish fingers, and I'll worry about the rest afterwards. So I'm just going to coat those really well in my flour to start with, and by coating it, that means that it's easier for it dries it out so that it's easier for the egg to stick to it, and then eventually your little breadcrumbs, right? So I'm going to do these one at a time. I can grab them out now with, just give it a little shake, or shigla yn Gymraeg, give it a little mix in your egg, just as so, just until everything's coated, and then it goes straight into your bag, just like that. Wait for it to drop down, and these are quite chunky, these ones, so you can put all 3 in at a time. I would only ever do 3 at a time. Just make sure that you give it a really good shake. That goes into there, and then you can make sure everything's coated. Pop that in just like that, and if I move that, you'll be able to see this process. And then that goes onto there just as so. That goes into there. Dip those on just like that, and then that eventually goes into there, and you can then pop those to the side. As I said, I'm going to finish those off sort of afterwards, right? And then the final thing is you just need to shake, right? So all I'm going to do is give that a really good shake. If you didn't want to do it in a little bag, you could do it on a plate, right? So you just coat everything on a little plate, and eventually I'm just going to grab myself just another little tray just there. I like to cook these on a sheet of greaseproof paper, right? It's not compulsory, it just makes things a little bit easier to handle. And literally I'm just going to get out my little fish fingers from here. They're not all coated, they've all stuck together. Right, so that one's nicely coated, so let me grab that one to start with. Whoops. So we've got one fish finger just there. We've got another little fish finger just there. Now, you probably only need 3 fish fingers per person, and I've got another little fish finger just there. And as I said, I'm going to prepare the rest of those afterwards. And literally, once you've made these, right, these take about 10 to 15 minutes in the oven, because the fish just needs to be just cooked. You don't want to go too tough, right? And the top should become nice and crispy. And I promise you, these are blasses yam. So as I said, with your potato wedges, allow them to cook for 20 minutes. Then your fish fingers will go in. And after about 35 minutes, everything should then be cooked. And as if by magic, as I've already shown you already today, we have got our little potato sort of French fries just there. And I'm looking for a little bit of a drum roll. You can see that we have got our fish fingers just there. And there's nothing better than homemade fish fingers, because the great thing about these is that you know exactly what has gone into them, right? So I'm just going to pop those just behind me, and in actual fact I'm just going to pop those back into my oven, because I've just remembered there's one more thing that we need to prepare this afternoon, ready for our little Happy Meal, and that is our banana milkshake. So just as always, just while I'm clearing up just here, if anyone has got any comments about this afternoon session, or any questions, or any ideas about what we can make during future cook-along sessions, if you pop your comments into the comments page either below or on the side, it's on the side for me on the screen, then please do pop your comments and questions in, or your suggestions about what recipes we're doing, and either myself or one of the Happy team will be pleased to answer those for you. So bear with me just 1 second, have a think about what you would like us to make in the future, because I'm slowly, and not overly slowly, but slowly starting to run out of ideas. So if anyone does have any ideas of a recipe that you really want to make, but you just want to make it slightly healthier, then please do pop it in the suggestion box or the comments box just there. So let me just grab this just here, and then we are all set for doing our next one. So let me just wipe that over. I can pop that just there, and I can grab one thing from my little fridge just here. As I said, the last thing that we are going to serve with our Happy Meal today is our little sort of banana milkshake. And I just realised that you couldn't actually see what was going on there because I didn't remove the fish finger recipe card. So let me remove that, and yes, that's gone. And now I can press once more, and I'm hoping that you've got the banana milkshake recipe card just there. And I'm going to make it today in my sort of NutriBullet. Well, it's not a NutriBullet, it's a cheaper version of a NutriBullet, but we've got one of these sort of power blenders just there. You could equally do it in a smoothie maker, you could do it in a hand blender, you could do it, I'm trying to use my hand blender there, see? So you've got that just there. But basically, as you can see on the recipe card, for your banana milkshake, it's just literally 4 basic ingredients, right? So you've got your little bananas just there. You've got some vanilla sort of yogurt, so that's going to add lots of flavour. It's also going to add a little bit of sweetness as well, and lots of calcium. And then you've got your milk, and then to stop your bananas from going brown, because it tends to go sort of grey sort of colour quite quickly, I've just got a little bit of lemon juice, right? So these couldn't be easier. What you want is you want to maximise the amount of sweetness that's going in, right? So I have got 2 very, very ripe bananas just there. As I like to say, they're ripe bananas, nearly ready to walk out to the fruit bowl on their own, right? But don't throw them out, because they are absolutely delicious. And I'm currently doing some Let's Read and Cook sort of books, and there's a wonderful book, I think it's called The Bad Banana, right? And it's all about using reduced food items that are near enough going out of date, right? But they're still really, really tasty. So let me just move that down just as so, and you can see it's a little bit very brown at the bottom, so I'm not going to use that bit, but I'm just going to pop that in just like that. And I've going to add 2 small bananas or 1 medium to large bananas. These were particularly small this afternoon, so I'm just going to pop all of those in just like that, and that can go into my little waste bowl. And if you smell those, they've just got a lovely intense banana sort of smell, and really, really tasty, right? So to that, I'm going to add my vanilla sort of yogurt. Goes in just as so. And as I said, I like to use vanilla yogurt because it's sweetened, right? Either with sweetener or something like that. So you've got that going in, and then I've just got 300 mils of milk just there. You could use soya milk, you could even use soya yogurt, okay? I'm not going to add all of it, just enough to cover it just as so, because I'm actually only making enough for 1.5 people. I'm not going to waste it, I'm going to pop it all in, right? Then, literally, you can then start to blend it. Now then, I did try this blender out earlier, and it was working. If you wanted to add a bit of a different colour to that, you could add some strawberries to make it more of a strawberry and banana, but I'm making traditional sort of banana. Okay. That's going to mix up really, really fast. Oh, blimey. I just realised that I forgot to add my lemon juice, right? And as I said, not absolutely totally compulsory to add the lemon juice, but it will stop the bananas from going brown. So I'm not going to add a huge amount, just 1 teaspoon just goes in like that, and that prevents what we call the enzymic browning, right? So I'm just going to pop that back onto there. Just like so. So let me get rid of those bits just there. And I can then start. I just realised I was talking to you when the machine was on, right? So you can see just here that I've got my Happy Meal ready. Ignore the plant, because I'm going to tell you about the plant in a moment, right? But this is how I am now going to serve it. I've just got some little grease-proof bags just there, and they're going to serve as my little containers. So I've got my little fish fingers. You can see they are really, really nice. So I'm going to pop those just into there. These are particularly small ones this afternoon. So as I said, 3 is ideal for 1 person, but I'm not going to waste these. I'm going to pop all of those just into there like that. So we've got our little fish fingers just there. I'm going to pull that over there. I've got my little French fries. You can see they're perfectly cooked. And obviously what they would do in McDonald's, right, or any sort of takeaway, they would add lots of salt to these now. To add a little bit of flavour, but more importantly, to make you thirsty so you buy a drink, right? But we don't need to do that because we've put our little mixed herbs on. So you can see that you've got your little French fries just there. I've got some a bit of tomato sauce, reduced sugar and salt. I've got a portion of fruit, which today is going to be some little satsumas. I've got my banana milkshake. And I'll come to the plant in a moment, I promise. So let me just take this off just like that. And you can see that you've got your perfect, thick banana milkshake just there. And I promise you that is absolutely delicious. And there you have, right, your little Mc-Cookalong Happy Meal. Your fish fingers, your French fries, a little sort of fruit dessert, your banana milkshake, and you always need a little toy with your Happy Meal. And for me, my toy is a little plant, right? This is a little succulent called an aeonium, right? So we've got that just there, and I'm very excited about popping that into the house afterwards. So you can see I've got my little toy, so I am very, very happy. So that brings me to the end of today's cook along. I hope that you have enjoyed watching me make this wonderful Mc-Cookalong Happy Meal. Don't forget that all the recipe cards are available on the Facebook page as well as our website also. All that leaves for me to say is diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you ever so much for watching this afternoon. I hope that you've enjoyed, and I will see you very, very soon. Coginio hapus.